What's up, folks? This is Crypto with James talking to you today about digital identity. This is legitimately one of the areas that I hate that this is going to be our new reality. But as a result of that, there's probably money here. You know, this is a really important, like, it's an inevitability. So I'm going to take a look at this. Before I do, as always, I update the spreadsheet. These are the first 26 coins I spoke about on the channel. Had you invested $100 into each one when I released the videos and you're still holding all that crypto, you'd be in profit for over 55 grand. This is not reflective of what I hold anymore. If you want to see what I hold, come check out Copy My Crypto. It's where I share my portfolio. 2021 was a magnificent year. Obviously, crypto had a hell of an explosion at multiple different times. Long-term investments did incredibly well, and as well as quick flips and airdrops. If you want to be a part of that and make those gains, because whether it's bear cycle, bull cycle, there's serious opportunity in this space to make great returns. And I've got a list of cryptos that I'm eyeing up for the bear cycle. If you want to know what they are, come check it out. The link is in the description. All right, identity. Look, guys, identity is inevitable. So these are the top identity tokens. Market cap in total of 1.1 billion. Trading volume is pretty low comparatively. Look, identity verification is something we're seeing everywhere. Everywhere. You know, in the UK, digital ID, checking for landlords and employers to tackle immigration abuse is something that's been brought in. The new tech will make it quicker, safer, and more convenient for landlords and employers to carry out right to rent, right to work, and DBS identity checks. So they're looking at basically digital identity, and that's in the UK. There's been the Digital Identity Solutions Market Report that's come out just recently. And this is focused on the identity solutions per country, looking at the big players within it, and Samsung, SDS, Tessie and TELUS. And we are going to see, and that report's easily accessible, by the way. You can go here and request the sample. And basically what they identified was that new experiences and information for organizations, and they went through looking at the data that those organizations were picking up, how those solutions were being implemented per country or per capita, whatever, not capita, per country, and then the potential for growth in terms of what's the trend in terms of what the customers actually want. The report itself, like I said, highlights the global need for digital identity, and there is validity to it. I just friggin' hate it. North America and Europe in particular are going to be really pushing on this down the line. I've already seen elements of it in China. China have a number of different things in place already. They've got their like social credits, effectively. So your ID is you've got digital ID linked. If your face is screen grabbed as you're like jaywalking, you're like fined immediately, as taken from your bank, like it's already implemented. So that's the kind of problem with this kind of ability to identify anyone all the time. Look, whether it's jaywalking or whatever it is, like, it really doesn't matter. It's fundamentally, it's a matter of time before the digital identities are connected to every CCTV camera. All of a sudden, your privacy is done. And I hate it, guys. I friggin' hate it. But I can acknowledge that there's money here. There's money to be made. And you can see it. Digital ID, RegTech, Verif had a mega round, plots of metaverse growth, but for Christ's sake. But they literally had I think it was $100 million, was it? 100 million in their Series C round. So, we know there's been a few massive digital ID startups as well. And financial crime is the counter to digital ID. Digital ID regtechs can hone in on growth in terms of identifying, being utilized to potentially subvert the sort of financial crime situations that we're seeing, whether it's money laundering or whatever. That companies, all the crypto exchanges sort of highlight as you have to verify yourself, and subscribe to the anti-money laundering conditions and everything else. So these are going to only grow. Now, Ontology is the biggest market cap of digital ID, but you've got a few that are knocking about that are obviously big. Civic is another one. Civic had that parabolic run upon its inception, where it reached $1.35. Since obviously experienced a massive retrace during the bear cycle, nearly reached $1 this cycle. But down the line, there's real potential for Civic. So Ontology is looking at being the digital identity solution for Web3. They're looking at being on Polkadot. They're already on Binance Smart Chain. They're utilized, I believe, by Binance as a digital ID front as well. ONT ID is what you can use for your on and off chain data. And they've actually made a lot of headway with this. Again, I really don't like this premise, but it is part of our lives. It's inevitable. And there's a big sort of gap in the market. When you look at the market cap of this compared to some projects that are out there, you realize that a digital identity solution across multiple chains is going to be something that is massively successful. On to making strides in that. Civic is a similar principle. Civic is meeting KYC and AML requirements through Civic's compliance tools. Again, their identity solution isn't bad, but it's not. I mean, I think ONT is probably better, but they've got identity verification for businesses as well. Again, there's a huge requirement for digital identity down the line. It just is. It's going to happen. So your coins like Ontology and like Civic are inevitably going to have some level of success as long as they're adopted. Case in point is that Ontology has been adopted by Binance, by the exchange, not by Binance Smart Chain, by the exchange. And there's potential for a lot of these. Like I said, one thing that's going to end up occurring, particularly in terms of integrations within DeFi, is down the line we're going to start seeing DeFi integrations where you need to have a digital identity to utilize some of the protocols. That's going to be something that happens. Now, not necessarily, that shouldn't be happening with most DeFi because, decentralized. But we will see that. We'll certainly see that with centralized exchanges as well down the line, because there's going to be, once regulation comes in, and now we've got a race between America and Russia to be the first to be properly regulated. But when all of this happens, what you're going to have is new laws, new rules, regulations around how you are taxed. So that requires, that's going to require more detailed documentation, inevitably. And one of those things will be, particularly with centralized exchanges, showing that they've got, to comply to anti-money laundering and everything else, they'll have to have digital identities attached to accounts, and some DeFi protocols might have to do this. And then from there, those digital identities, you can export the files utilized once you confirm your digital identity, and that can be used directly by your accountant. And there's levels that are already there, but the digital identity thing is going to be something that's just necessary. And it'll end up being a legal requirement by governments. It'll end up being a legal requirement by governments. It's inevitable. And as a result, this is where there's an opportunity. As much as it sucks and it's not something I want to see incorporated into my daily routine, like into any sort of routine I potentially use when I'm using DeFi or a centralized exchange, there's probably an opportunity to make some money in that gap, because digital IDs will end up having a huge role in our lives. You know, when everyone talks about the metaverse and how excited they are for the future of the metaverse, well, if the metaverse ends up being a massive part of our lives, what's going to happen? You're going to have identification, you're going to have identity verification for your metaverse characters, avatars, whatever. And this is a space that's only going to grow down the line. So coins like your Ontology and your Civic are really worth watching, because, you know, it's not in yet, but it is a matter of time before this is part and parcel of our lives, guys. It is. So, you know, you're getting in early, potentially. But I've definitely got my eye on some identity tokens now, particularly if there's a bear cycle, because I think their growth is inevitable. There's a real gap in focus. You know, everyone talks about interoperability or DeFi or NFTs or metaverse or whatever. No one talks about identity because, one, it's not sexy. Two, it sucks. But fundamentally, there's a gap. There's a gap in the markets there. And it's something I'd be keeping my eye on. Anyway, that's it from me. Just a little rant about how I don't like the idea of it. And, you know, these are coins to watch. If you're new to crypto, you've been around in crypto for a while, but you're not happy with how things go, you can check out Copy My Crypto. We had an awesome 2021, and 2022 is only going to get better. If you want to be a part of the make the gains I'm making, make the gains my members are making, click the link in the description, guys, and check it out. All right, take it easy. Bye-bye.